Yes, let's go with the compound epithelium. Compound epithelium or stratified epithelium. You can say compound epithelium or stratified epithelium. Strata means layers. You see, here we'll have the basement membrane. Above on the basement membrane, many rows of cells are present. That's why we call it as compound epithelium or stratified epithelium. As we have seen in case of simple epithelium earlier, on above the basement membrane only one row of cells are present here. But here you can see multi-layered, that many row of cells are present. That's why we call it as stratified, a compound epithelium. We need to say it as stratified or compound epithelium. In that stratified squamous epithelium, which is further classified into stratified squamous keratinized and stratified squamous non-keratinized. So first of all, let us see the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. So we'll go with the diagram. So let me draw the basement membrane first. This is the basement membrane. Above on the basement membrane, immediately we'll find germinal epithelium. So above on the basement membrane, germinal epithelium. We can say it as germinal epithelium or stratum germinibatum. Stratum germinibatum or germinal epithelium. This germinal epithelium is going to produce the cells continuously. Whatever the cells produced here, we call them as polyhedral cells. These polyhedral cells, when they move up, they become squamous. Hence, we called it as stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, so that means the series that germinal epithelium or stratum germinibatum that produces new cells. When the new cells are going to produce, the older row will go up, and when it go up, it will become squamous on the upper surface. So upper surface is squamous, hence we call stratified squamous. What next? So these particular row of cells, when they go up, they die on the top. That means due to the friction, that if they die on the top, that we say stratified squamous keratinized. So this is keratinized. That layer itself called stratum corneum. Layer is called as stratum corneum. That layer is said to be stratum corneum. Okay, no need to remember that this layer germinibatum, this is layer corneum. But what I am saying here, so if you remember this order, it will be easy for us to remember the total issue. Okay, so I'll draw you on the whiteboard back again. So this is the basement membrane with the basal lamina and reticular lamina. As I said to you, there is a germinal epithelium or stratum germinibatum, and it is going to produce many cells here, the polyhedral cells we say. So these cells, when they are again and again they are going to produce, they fill the rows. Older row will go up, go up, go up, and then they go up, they become squamous there. That's why we called it as stratified squamous. Okay, so this squamous layer will die off in the top. We say that as keratinization. So this we say in the form of keratinization. Focus here. Little bit interesting thing here because we are going to know about us. Yes, so let me label first. Stratum corneum. Size we need to reduce. Stratum corneum. Little more. Okay, so then below the stratum corneum, what we can see? Squamous layer. Okay, so below that, what we can see? Squamous polyhedral cells. Then this is called stratum Germinibatum or germinal layer. Stratum germinibatum or germinal layer. We can say stratum germinibatum or germinal layer. Here it is. You need to write squamous layer. So that's it. Stratum, carnium, squamous layer, polyhedral cell, stratum germinibatum, and this is as usual basement membrane. Basement membrane. Okay, this is a basement membrane. So what is this? This is stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. This layer we call stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. Layer is called stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. So where do you see this? Just imagine the same. If it you find in your body, this is your skin. That means always the upper layer of cells are going to be shed off, and new layer is going to form again and again. They come up and become squamous, then keratinized. And imagine this is your nails. The total nail is keratinized. That means this is the nail. This is your nail. Okay, uh, so what is happening there? New cells are going to form. They die. They become squamous. They die. That your nail is growing. That your nail is growing. So that your skin, your nails, your hair is also one of the good example. Hair. So how do we see this in the hair? In the hair follicle, our setup will be seen over. Basement membrane and polyhedral cells are going to be produced, and these polyhedral cells become squamous and they die, and your hair is keratinized, stratum corneum is your nail. Stratum corneum is your hair. Stratum corneum is your upper layer of the skin. So that's why I said over. This is the interesting thing here. So now you came to understand from where your nail grows, from the base or from the top. So just you can see here. That means if you take your nail, so if you apply, so I'm right, I'm drawing your nail here. If you apply some nail paint here, okay. So growth is happening from the tip or growth is happening from the base. Growth is happening from the base. That means our setup is present here, like basement membrane, germinal epithelium, polyhedral cells, squamous. When they die, that they grow as a nail. So likewise, the growth will go on. So that imagine the same thing in the hair case of hair. So who is stratum corneum? Nail is stratum corneum. Hair is stratum corneum. That you need to understand. Your upper layer of the skin is stratum corneum. Okay. So that's it. Stratum corneum, that is squamous cuboidal, stratified columnar, transitional, various epitheliums are there in compound. The very important thing you need to remember that is that stratified squamous keratinized. Stratified squamous keratinized. So now let's start reading. It is made up of more than, talking about the compound epithelium, it is made up of more than one layer of cell. That's why we call it as compound or stratified epithelium. Its main function is to provide protection against the chemical and mechanical stress. That's what we just talked about stratified squamous. It covers the dry surface of the skin. Stratified squamous keratinized epithelium that we are seeing now. Next, we need to go with stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Stratified squamous non-keratinized. So what is the difference between the stratified squamous keratinized and stratified squamous non-keratinized? This is the difference. That means basement membrane is present as usual. You can see the basement membrane, and that above on that germinal epithelium you can see. Then polyhedral cells are going to form, the cells of various shape, and then they become squamous, as that is as usual, that becomes squamous. Okay, squamous layer is there, polyhedral cells are there, stratum germinibatum is also there. What is not there? This is not there. Stratified stratum corneum, no keratinization, no death of the cell. That's why we use it to say these are present at the wet surface. So that what you say, stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. So stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. It covers the moist surface of buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, and vagina. As the stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium covers the moist surface of buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, and vagina as a stratified non-keratinized squamous epithelium. Okay, next. When we go to the stratified cuboidal, what you need to understand? Upper layer of the cells are cuboidal. In that way, upper layer of cells are cuboidal. Next, that is stratified cuboidal. It forms the wall of the urinary bladder. That is transitional epithelium. So, let me say once again, stratified squamous keratinized. That is one. That stratified squamous keratinized. Stratified squamous non-keratinized. And number three, that we have to talk about stratified cuboidal. So where do you see the stratified cuboidal? As the inner lining of larger ducts of salivary gland, ducts of sweat gland, and pancreatic ducts as stratified cuboidal epithelium. So then it that next transitional epithelium. What is transition? Transition means which can change. That means this is the basement membrane. Above on the basement membrane, you can see above on the basement membrane, some row of cells are present here like this. Some row of cells are present. Okay. So when this particular layer is stretched over, when this layer is gets stretched, that means this is the basement membrane, and when this layer is stretched, it seems to be that number of row of cells are getting reduced because of their overlapping. Because of their overlapping. You just imagine elastic rubber band. When you pull it off, that means it seems to be thin because of overlapping of molecules there, because of overlapping of cells here. So what is the situation actually? We have to talk about urinary bladder. So just let's talk about the urinary bladder. If you see the urinary bladder, in case of urinary bladder, the basement membrane, imagine just hypothetical I'm showing here, basement membrane, and so that layers we can say here that these are the cell layers like this. It is present, cell layers. Okay, so many cell layers are present. So what we are talking about, when the urinary bladder is going to fill with the urine, when the urinary bladder is going to fill with the urine, that when urinary bladder is stretched over, the stretched urinary bladder, it seems to be that the cells, row of cells are getting reduced. That means that becomes little thin. You see the difference. This is urinary bladder without urine. This is the urinary bladder. So here if you imagine there are 4 rows of cells are present, here also the 4 rows of cells are present, but it seems to be transitional. What is transitional? Which can change. That's why we call it as transitional epithelium. Such kind of epithelium is called transitional epithelium. Okay, so that's it about the compound epithelium that we have seen till the time. Compound epithelium. Okay, so then let's go to the worksheet and let's see the examples of stratified epithelium there. Wall here, from here we need to start, isn't it? Nail and hair of mammal. Stratified, squamous, keratinized epithelium. Moist surface of buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus. Stratified, squamous, non-keratinized epithelium. The wall of urinary bladder, the transitional epithelium, inner lining of larger ducts of salivary gland, inner lining of larger ducts of salivary gland, stratified cuboidal epithelium, dry surface of the skin, stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. So that's it. The examples you have to read there, and you should come here and you need to practice. Okay. Then that's about the compound epithelium or stratified epithelium. Compound epithelium or stratified